It's the final countdown. Bam, 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 bam. What's up, veterans of the OGL Wars? Have the OGL Wars come to an end? Or, in the immortal words of Yoda, begun these OGL Wars have. What a year. What a year, what a year, what a year. And for the past year, we have used this as an excuse to sing some songs and take a look at the veterans, victims, and victors of the January Manic Panic OGL Wars. So as the year comes to an end, who emerges as the number one contender for the throne that is perilously tipping, but currently still on the head of Wizards of the Coast as Dungeons & Dragons 2024 looms its ugly head, and we definitely know that it is going to be out sometime between January 1st and December 31st of 2024, but most likely we're looking for a March, April, May release for the digital Player's Handbook, because let's face it, the digital Player's Handbook is ready. And the physical Player's Handbook, May, June. You want it out before the end of Q1, probably. 5e, but not 2024 5e. No. That's one of the many things that they did to trick us. 2014 through 2023 5th edition is in the Creative Commons, but 2024 D&D 5e, we don't know if they're going to put that in the Creative Commons or not. Well, January, yes, but after January, no. I think most of it was, yes, people just looking for reasons to be angry. So, in the terms of one of my favorite other pastimes, is professional wrestling. So, first off, the undisputed Universal Champion of 2023 OGL Wars, who won without doing much of anything, but just presenting you with a ton of free stuff every week. Trollord Games, Castles and Crusades. What a great year for Castles and Crusades. It started out really great for them. It's continuously been great for Castles and Crusades and Trollord Games. And Trollord Games ends the year with winning the battle for Universal Championship by getting their hands on the last remaining stuff that Gary Gygax produced that isn't owned by Wizards. And that includes finally releasing, of course, Castle Zaggy, of which I am grateful for the copy they sent me to. Then the Hermit, which is another adventure that they just finished the Kickstarter, and we should be receiving your copies if you backed it very soon. And we know they've got some more Gygax stuff coming down the path now that the whole wibbly wobbly, legally meagly stuff that was dealt with Gygax estate since 2008 is finally finished. Lou Gygax is behind it. Ernie is behind it. Ernie, thankfully, out of the hospital and back gaming again. And Trollord Games is currently the only individuals that can claim with some level of certainty that they are carrying forward the legacy of what Gygax wanted D&D to be. Because let's face it, 5th edition 2024 is only Dungeons & Dragons in name. It's not D&D, but it's the label. And we've gone over this 100 times. But so, yes, if there's anyone who won in 2023, it's Trollord Games. If you're not playing Castles and Crusades and you love OGL, OSR, AD&D style play, I highly recommend this one. And if you're like, well, I can't afford it, they make a bunch of their shit free. Okay, the Player's Handbook PDF is always free, and every month they do bundles for free. I pretty much have a PDF of everything they've made, and it didn't cost me a dime because they just kept making stuff for free. For here's our Christmas, here's our New Year's, here's our post OGL. We're getting rid of all our 5e stuff. In fact, they're having a sale starting the day after Christmas where they're just knocking more stuff down. So keeping that in mind. So if we have a universal champion, if we have the guy who just shows up, our Roman Reigns, he shows up 4 times a year, he works, he kicks ass, and he leaves. That's Troll Lord Games, Castles and Crusades. Started the year as the universal champ, just showed up, worked, kicked ass, left. And Troll Lord, plus, yes, for the legacy of Gygax, it is definitely Troll Lord Games. No matter what anybody says, it's Troll Lord Games. So then moving on to the People's Champ, our mid-card champion, second to Troll Lord Games, and they did the job. They just worked. They just spent the whole year working, putting out product. Nobody really knows about them. They actually predate January because Level Up Advanced 5th Edition came out last year or the year before, but they're constantly pushing stuff. They're constantly making new content. And when the whole OGL January thing happened, they just went, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And if you guys appreciate our work, great. And if you don't, oh, well. So, yeah, they're my Chad Gable. They're my People's Champ. They're the mid-card champion. They end 2024 with just like, hey, we did it first. We predicted this, and we have our Level Up 5e retro clone ready to go. So, yeah, they are the People's Champ, our mid-card champion. But now we got to go to the biggies, the most anticipated games for 2024 that we think are going to knock the champ, the so-called 5e killers. So first off, let's look at the also rans, the ones that have been nominated but we don't think are going to happen. All right. So if we go to the 11 biggest tabletop RPGs arriving in 2024 as listed by the character sheet on comicbook.com on about a month ago. Number 1, Daggerheart. Daggerheart, are you the most anticipated role-playing game? Is Daggerheart going to be the 5e killer? No. No, it's not. Not the way things stand now. Daggerheart needs to step up and start knocking them out of the park because people are... Yeah, I'm getting to that. People are starting to forget about it, and it's already mired in a lot of negative press because of all the negative press that's associated with Candle Obscura, and people are looking at it and going, this just seems really gimmicky, and a lot of people are upset about the damage first fall forward mechanics for how combat works in Daggerheart, and it just feels like it's a lot of buzzwords, a lot of gimmicks, but there really isn't there. I mean, but let's face it, Daggerheart could be the worst tabletop role-playing game ever made. As long as Mercer and company run with it the way they've run with Critical Role, it'll be a smash because the fan base will be behind it. So it could be the best game ever made. It could be the worst game ever made, but it'll be good and it'll make money and it'll be popular and it'll attract a lot of attention, and hopefully it'll attract attention away from 5e as the critters follow Mercer and company with whatever they do with Daggerheart. But it's time for them to step up and do something with Daggerheart. So right now, unless things change, they're no longer on the list. They've fallen to the bottom. Okay, we know they're going to do something, but I don't know when, and I don't see them pushing the game the way the other companies are pushing it. So no. Then we have all the licensed ones that are all claiming they're going to be the 5e killers. We've got the Diablo tabletop role-playing game coming out next year, based upon the Diablo 4 storyline. First, way too late. Way too late. Second, if you're going to do a tabletop role-playing game based upon Diablo, you do it based upon the most popular and best storyline, and that's Diablo 2. And 3, we need to see the treasure charts, because we know one of the big things about Diablo, the original, rogue clone, is the random ridiculous treasure. Plus we want to know the skill trees, the classes, and how you're going to emulate the over the top dark but slightly ridiculous combat that is Diablo. We know that's maybe coming out next year, but yeah, like many of these, it's gonna, if anybody gets it, they're getting it for the lore, and that's just gonna shit on themselves. Assassin's Creed, most anticipated tabletop role-playing game in 2024. Too late. No interest. How's that work for a multiplayer game? Gone. The Brandon Sanderson 2024 5e killer. Haven't seen anything about it so far. We know it's going to be using the same damage fall forward mechanic that a lot of the other games are using all of a sudden. And, it's like, it's another, we'll wait to see. If you're really going to be a 5e killer, it's only because of the Brandon Sanderson fan base. But let's see how you're doing it, because right now we got nothing to go on. So no, you're not on the list. What about C7D20 that was announced in January? Catalyst Games were going to step up and be the 5e killer. They haven't updated their website since March. Nope, you're gone. What about the Dungeon Coast's DC20? Had an alpha test in like April, May. Since then, we haven't heard anything about it. Everybody was saying DC20 was going to be the 5e killer. The alpha test is out there. I haven't heard anything about it, and they haven't updated anything since like April. So, nope, you're not on the list. What about the Gloomhaven tabletop role-playing game? Well, is it going to cost people the same as the Gloomhaven board game cost them? Because then no one's going to get it. No one's going to fork out $600 for a tabletop role-playing game just to get a bunch of figures. Is it going to be the 5e killer? Is the Gloomhaven line enough to get attention? Doubtful. Again, it feels a little too late. Same with the Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy 16 tabletop role-playing game. 1, too late. 2, unless you specifically have rules to cover the stuff that makes people play Final Fantasy, where's my rules for Buster Swords and Sephiroths and summonings and all that other stuff? Plus, it's not going to feature Cloud or any of the characters that people want from things. And again, it feels like it's a little too late. So I don't have that on the list either. What about Pathfinder 2 2nd Edition Remastered? Definitely on the list. Definitely one of the most anticipated. Could it be the 5e killer? Well, track record shows us that Pathfinder 1st Edition was the 4e killer, but that was a different time, and there was a lot of other things in play. There are people who love Pathfinder 2nd Edition, then there are people who hate it, and there's people who are very upset that they made the remastered, and stuff like that. But we know the wheels are there. So if I'm doing my top 4 of most anticipated or who I think won, it's wait and see, but I would say it's probably in the top 3, top 4. But now we get to the top 3, the top 3. So, and he already mentioned Corporative Waffle already mentioned this one. So let's go with, of course, Tales from the Valiant. OGL January Manic Panic happened. Kobold Press came forward and said, fuck that, we're going to do something. And everybody was like, oh, they're going to make a brand new game and it's going to be kick-ass. And Kobold Press said, nope, we never said that. We said we're going to fulfill all our 5e content contracts, and then we're going to make a game. And that game was originally called Project Black Flag, and everybody loved it because it sounded like pirates and fighting against the establishment and advanced and blah. And then we saw it, and we were like, no, this is another 5e clone. And Kobold Press said, we never said it wasn't a 5e clone. We, as corporative, as this guy said, Midgard, Kobold Press has been offering the most consistent, best 5e third-party content since 5e was born. And the Midgard stuff, the Kobold Press stuff, is as good, if not better, than anything Wizards of the Coast has made. In fact, pound for pound, the Kobold Press stuff is better. It's the king of the third-party stuff. If there's a game right now that's going to be the 5e killer, that's going to give us the exact same stuff that 5e gives us, because Pathfinder isn't. It is its kind of own separate piece. It's this, and it's pretty much done. I mean, we have the alpha test. It's accepting pre-orders. Link down below. So with 2024 about to happen, it really just depends upon when the physical product hits the shelves. If Kobold Press gets the physical product for Tales of the Valiant on the shelves before Wizards gets that new player's handbook on the shelves, they win. I think. I could be wrong. Again, it depends upon Daggerheart. But right now, it's probably either Tales of the Valiant or Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Okay, that leads us to the big guy, the guy who came out of nowhere and surprised everybody, and that's of course the $3 million elephant in the room. Is this the 5e killer? Is this tabletop role-playing game of the year? It's made $3,427,940. It's got 20,271 backers. 14 days left for the big mystery that is the Matt Colville role-playing game. A lot of excitement, a lot of money, a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of momentum. This could be it, except, of course, the one thing that knocks it out of contention is the fact we're not even going to see it till maybe late 2025 or more likely 2026. So maybe in 2025, 26, it kicks 5e's ass, or maybe by then people have completely forgot about it and they're like, I'm not interested in it. So this would be one of the most anticipated for 2024, except it's not, because one, it's not coming out in 2024, and two, by 2026, whatever momentum it has might be lost. So once again, it looks like for 2024, it's either Tales of the Valiant or Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered. Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered is already out. And Tales from the Valiant, well, it just depends upon when it hits the shelves. But the question is, and you know I've been building up to this, right? I mean, you knew it was going to end the way it started. 2023, January, OGL Manic Panic ends the way it started with one clear winner for the D&D D20 throne. And every time I mention her, I get in a lot of trouble, but let's face it, of all the people who stepped forward at the end of January and said, I'm going to do X, and it's going to be done by 2024, only one person did it. So, I'm sorry, but in my humble opinion, the winner of the 2023 OGL Wars is Kelsey. She came forward. She said, I'm going to do this. She got shit on. Tons of people were like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah, Kelsey. Fuck that Shadowdark. And then she made $1 million. And these same people, literally the same fucking hypocrites who were backing her and saying how great she was, were suddenly just saying how horrible she is. Oh, man. It didn't really surprise me. The people who were, white knighting her then turned on her in February. Meanwhile, I've been a fan of hers for like 4 years, but, I got shit on for backing her. But yeah, she did it. She did it. She came forward and said she was going to do it. She did it. She made $1 million. Her game is all over the place. People are making supplements and stuff for it. It's a number one seller on drive-thru. It'll probably win some, 2023 Game of the Year awards when they start doing award season. So if there is a champion, it's her. It's Kelsey. Lots of rogues in the business. Oh, yeah. The amount of people who turned on Kelsey. I mean, there was one or two that surprised me. Because just a week before, they were singing her praises and singing Shadowdark's praises. But then she made $1 million, and then she got successful, and then the jealousy. And everybody, 90% of the people who shit on her were men saying, how dare a relatively attractive female be successful in the tabletop role-playing game field and make $1 million when I didn't, and how is she's not dating me? Oh, she's gay? Well, that's even more reason. How dare is a female gay woman succeed in a field I didn't succeed in? So yeah, I assure you, half of the people that turned on her were just jealous. But hey, I've been a fan of hers since I was in Site A. She's one of the first people whose stuff I ever reviewed when I started doing this. So yes, and that yes. Plus, she never feeds into the hate. She never feeds into the hate. You know. And she's got the chops because she's gamed with Gygax's crew. She's been in the house. She's got the, the stuff. So, yeah. Kelsey is my winner. Kelsey is my champion. If Castles and Crusades is the universal champion, it's the Roman Reigns. Kelsey, you're the world champion. You're who? Seth Rollins. You're the Becky Lynch. You're the Charlotte Flair. Yeah, you just came out, kick ass, got your title, and just said, "Fuck you guys." I'm just gonna keep having fun. So yay! Bam bam ch, bam bam ch, bam bam ch. You see me now, the veteran of the 2023 OGL Wars. My mind is a window. There's nothing left to explore. It's pretty safe to see. Who is it for me? Who is going to be the 5e killer in 2024? I think it's safe. Well, I mean, come on. The enemy that 2024 Dungeons & Dragons has, the company most likely to kill 2024 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons is Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast. Exactly. Kelsey said she was going to do something. She did it. She was like, maybe I'll make $10. Maybe I'll make 100. I'll just be happy if I can get it finished, Week later, she's like, fuck, I made $1 million. I never saw that coming. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, she did the job, but I mean, it's a whole separate topic of why people turn on her. But it's just the mentality of how dare a woman succeed and make $1 million when I didn't. Yeah, anyways, I think we've covered this topic enough, ladies and gentlemen. And I think it's fair to say we know who the number one contenders for your money in 2024 is going to be for the 5e money. Now, I'm not talking about other games. I'm just talking about who it is that's going to truly step up and be a contender for that 5e money. Who's going to steal the money, steal the incentive, steal the energy from 2024 D&D? Who's going to be, in 2014, we had Pathfinder. Who's going to be the Pathfinder of 2024? And again, in closing, truthfully, the company that is the number one threat to 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons is Wizards. Wizards is 2024 D&D's main enemy. The individuals most likely to harm 2024 D&D, ruin 2024 D&D's reputation, make 2024 D&D lose money, kick 2024 D&D off the top of the hill, and cost them the championship. It's going to be like when the manager turns on his, turns on his client in the middle of a championship match. Wizards of the Coast is 2024 5e's greatest enemy. So you shouldn't be looking at who's going to take the money from 2024 D&D. We should just be really looking at, again, how Wizards of the Coast is going to self-destruct in 2024, because that is going to be the bell, the signal beacon for which to direct the energy. Whichever company gets there first when the inevitable happens, just like in 2014 with Pathfinder, or all the way back in the 80s with GURPS, that's who wins. And can Wizards of the Coast recover? Well, we'll see in 2027, won't we? That's it. Congratulations, Kelsey Shadowdark, for winning my personal, but you don't have to agree with me. I'm sure there's games you think that were more impactful or more important or did more or were better or just your favorite game. But this is just my opinion, and you don't have to listen to my opinion because remember, I'm an idiot. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I'm now a pussy and a slug. That's yeah. I liked it when Scott was just calling me West Coast Grognard or DM Grumpy McGrumprump, but apparently now I'm also a pussy and a slug. That's it. That's all I have to say on this topic. Have a great Friday. Drive safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon. We wish you a Merry Christmas.